This is Bergstrom State Line Quiz Bowl. Now from the Collins Aerospace Studio at the Nordloff Center in downtown Rockford, here's your host, Eric Wilson.
Welcome to center stage here at the Nordloff Center in downtown Rockford. We are thrilled that you are here and joining us for the finale of our Season 9 of Bergstrom State Line Quiz Bowl. Before we get started, a big thanks to our friends at the Rockford Public Library and Collins Aerospace for letting us make this our home all season long. It's been a great home for several seasons for us. We love it here. It's a great space, too. We started this journey back in October. 8 months later, we are down to 2 teams. One of those teams looks pretty familiar, at least when it comes to our finale. A year ago, the Auburn Knights lost their stranglehold on the Quiz Bowl crown. Belvedere North beat the Knights in our Season 8 finale, but Auburn got its revenge this year. They bounced the Blue Thunder in the Final Four. I'm sure they're still remembering that moment. Ooh, did you hear the crowd? They went, ooh. I'm spilling some Quiz Bowl tea. And a win here would actually be Auburn's 8th title in 9 years. But standing in their way are the Winnebago Indians. They are here tonight as well. Like Auburn, Winnebago has been around since day one of Bergstrom State Line Quiz Bowl, but this is Bago's first time in the finale, so it's a pretty exciting evening for them. Speaking of first, this is also, believe it or not, in the 9 years of our tournament, this is the first time that these two teams have faced each other. I also want to point out that both of these teams had pretty successful off seasons outside of our tournament. Winnebago finished 3rd in state. Let's give them a round of applause for that. And Auburn brought home a first place trophy in their school division. We are about 45 minutes from handing out our hardware here. So after the break, you know how I mentioned that this is Season 9? We are going to do kind of a mini reunion that we've staged with a pair of competitors from a Season 1 finale. And also, Michelle Abraham from Good Day State Line has some fun that she will have with a few of our contestants, or that Before I get to ask them questions, Michelle brought along her own, and it's really kind of fun. So we'll have that in a little bit. So stick around. Your Bergstrom State Line Quiz Bowl Season 9 finale will continue right after this short break. Throughout the school year, we had 31 teams compete in our Bergstrom State Line Quiz Bowl. That is about 250 of the best and brightest students in our area who made their ways through the doors at the Nordloff Center here downtown. Before they got to answer my questions, Michelle Abraham from Good Day State Line had her own for some of our contestants.
Today, we have brought the GDS box of questions behind the scenes of the Bergstrom State Line Quiz Bowl. We're going to have some fun and see if these kids can answer some fun questions, too. All right, dig deep. We're going to see if this is an easy or hard question for you.
Okay. What has been the highlight of my day? So far, the highlight of my day has been being here on the Bergstrom State Line Quiz Bowl. I think it's an experience nobody can ever forget, and it's going to be a good one. Be sure to watch us.
Okay, now you have to pick a box from the box of questions.
Okay.
Should be easier or harder than what you did in there.
Which of the 5 senses would you say is your strongest? My sense of sight, I would say, is my
You have 20/20 vision.
Yes, I do.
Do you think it's going to last forever? When you get old, do you think you're going to be blind?
It's not. I'll probably be blind when I'm older.
Well, enjoy where you can see now.
Of course, of course.
All right, dig in.
Okay. What is the first movie that made you cry?
Good question.
I don't know how to answer that one. I don't really cry.
You never cried ever watching a movie? What about crying of happiness?
Probably to Remember the Titans. That one made me
Oh
cry.
my God, I love that movie. Good answer.
My question is, would you rather vacation in Hawaii or Alaska, and why? I would say Alaska, because it would just be kind of fun.
I think you're wrong.
It could be an adventure.
My question is, when is the last time you really laughed out loud? Like yesterday?
What was so funny? Oh, no, I really want to know.
So we were making, my tennis team was making, locker decorations, and I just made one that was, really bad on purpose. But that was really bad.
Okay, that sounds fun to me.
What's your favorite joke to tell? Oh, okay, yes. I'm a geometry teacher, so I start out at the beginning of the year. Every day I start out with a geometry or math joke. And so my favorite one to tell is, what did the acorn say when it grew up?
Gotta be math related. Acorns falling, growing up. Something about a triangle.
Nope. Geometry. Geometry. That's good.
What are your plans for next year?
Probably college, NIU, something in-state.
Something. What do you want to do when you grow up?
IT, probably.
Oh, that's where you make the money.
Growing business.
Good job. Okay, here you go.
I think I grabbed two. Oh, there we go. Does your family share any traditions? If so, what are they? I think the oldest, like the most well-known tradition of our family is every year during Christmas, our grandparents always like give a new pajama to each of the kids. And you have to sleep in these pajamas or Santa's not gonna come and get you Christmas presents.
Those are magical pajamas.
Those are magical pajamas. You have to sleep in them. I think that is the only tradition I can think of at the moment.
Do you have 18 pairs of magical pajamas?
We grow out of them, so yeah.
Who is your hero and why? I'd probably have to say my grandma because she's super awesome.
What's your grandma's name?
Patricia.
Shout out to Grandma Patricia.
Yeah.
Great Mac. Dig deep.
Alright. What's something you think is totally underrated?
Underrated. That's a good one.
Keanu Reeves. I love Keanu Reeves so much. He's my hero.
All right, Wyatt, get in there.
What is your all-time favorite drink? A Roy Rogers. It's a Coke and Grenadine.
Okay.
What was your New Year's resolution? Did you stick to it? My New Year's resolution was to stop drinking a lot of coffee. No.
How much coffee do you drink?
About a pot a day.
How old are you?
16.
You should have said 65.
We love the box of questions. That's so much fun. Thanks, Michelle. And in case you're wondering, I don't remember the first movie I cried at, but I do remember the last movie because it's fresh in my mind, the most recent Guardians of the Galaxy movie. I want to see it again. I'm not sure I can handle it emotionally. No spoilers, but I'm not sure I can handle it. We are close to gameplay right now in our Season 9 finale of Bergstrom State Line Quiz Bowl. Before we get there, though, we had to start somewhere. I'll explain in just a couple minutes. Okay, show of hands, how many of you have you been a fan? Raise your hand if you've been a fan of Bergstrom State Line Quiz Bowl from day one. Even before I hosted the show, I watched it quite a bit. If you remember that Season 1 finale back in 2015, that was between Auburn and Belvedere, I'd like to reintroduce you to some guys who were there, although you probably won't recognize them. Matt Stiles and Will Stites both played for Belvedere. First of all, Matt and Will, thanks so much for taking time to be here. I really appreciate it. It's kind of exciting to get to talk to you because you were both part of this inaugural season that we had. We had never done this show before. No one knew what to expect. And you were kind of like our guinea pigs on one of the most successful teams in history. Matt, I want to start with you. What do you remember about that season? Was that nerve-wracking for you at all? Because you'd done Scholastic Bowl before, right?
Yeah, I had done Scholastic Bowl through high school, and this first season happened during my senior year. So I was used to doing it in all of these empty high school classrooms, kind of, and so doing it then in front of a TV studio, in front of a live audience, was kind of a new change. But I kind of got into the format and enjoyed the whole spectacle and the ambiance of it.
Will, how did you get involved in Quiz Bowl? And full disclosure too, I mean, your mom's the current coach for Belvedere North, right? So did mom kind of recruit you? How did you get involved in Scholastic Bowl?
I think almost the opposite. I more recruited her as the coach. We were looking for a coach. The previous coach had left the district, so we were in need of a staff member, and she stepped up to the plate.
And that's what moms do, right, Will? Matt, how did you get involved in participating in Scholastic Bowl?
It was a friend of mine was on the team, and freshman year you're looking to get involved in all of the different things that the high school has to offer, and so I always have been had a proclivity for memorizing random tidbits about history and geography, and so Quiz Bowl just kind of ended up becoming a natural fit.
Matt, I'm not going to lie, because obviously I wasn't part of the first 2 seasons of Quiz Bowl, so I wasn't there when you competed, but the beard is jarring to me because I've only seen you in the highlights from that first season. So 8 years have passed. What's been going on in your life, Matt, for those 8 years besides growing a sweet beard?
Thank you. Yeah, I'm quite proud of it. No, I went to the University of Wisconsin right after. I got a degree in history there. And then after that, I moved to Paris, France, and I taught English for a year there. Then pandemic hit, I moved back to the US, lived in Colorado for a bit, before ultimately returning to Paris, where I did my MBA. And at the moment, I'm living in Switzerland, working in finance for a ski company there.
Wow, you are like the worldly traveler. That's super impressive. Your passport's probably got a lot of stamps in it.
Indeed, yeah.
Will, what about you? What's happened in your life since you graduated from high school and were a contestant on Quiz Bowl?
Yeah, there's been a bit less traveling for me. Went to college at Illinois State University, where I graduated with a degree in economics. Obviously, again, graduated basically into a pandemic. Eventually, I got a job in like the fintech industry, and I now work as a data analyst.
What drew you to economics as a major, Will?
Just the logic-based kind of aspect of it was very interesting to me.
Again, watching you guys play the game, obviously with your vast knowledge, it's no surprise that you've gone on and done some pretty successful things. Matt, what do you remember about your season competing in Quiz Bowl?
The highlights were a lot of the traveling with the team. Definitely when we went to the tournaments in Colorado, or sorry, in Chicago, and a lot of in the Chicago area, and also we would go to the national tournament in Atlanta. So yeah, a lot of that, and the people you meet on the other teams too. And it's always very, there are still some questions that are very satisfying to think about, to remember getting those super early buzzes.
What about you, Will? Do you remember anything from playing our show? I understand that one of your games was really close that first season. Does that stick out in your mind at all?
Yeah, I think on one of them we maybe got essentially a Quiz Bowl buzzer beater.
Pluto is correct. Debate on whether or not that's a planet or not, but you got it. This is how close this was here. Belvedere North wins it 290 to 280. That's one of the best games we've had.
I feel like we also got a lot of the pizza parties.
And you know what? That's over the years, that has turned out to, for most contestants, to be the most important question of the entire game, is who's going to get the pizza party, for sure. Will, really quickly, when you found out that Belvedere North knocked off Auburn to be our champs last season, how'd that make you feel? What did you think when you heard that?
That was pretty cool. I feel like throughout the years and the different eras that the team has gone through, they've been somewhat of a rival, or maybe something that we could try to achieve further. You know what I mean?
Good point, Will, for sure. And Matt, before I let you guys go, we're kind of running out of time here. I just want to quickly ask you, do you have any advice for students, whether they want to be world travelers or just want to be successful on Quiz Bowl? What do you think?
For Quiz Bowl, read packets, study. That's the only way to do it. I know people enjoy, people like me that enjoy just cruising around on Wikipedia and learning things, so can't go wrong with that. And in general, for world travelers, study abroad in college. It's the cliche, it changes your life and everything, but it's definitely, I think, an important experience. And don't be discouraged if you don't have a plan in college, after college, you'll figure it out.
Matt Stiles and Will Stites, a couple of our very first Bergstrom State Line Quiz Bowl players. Thanks so much for taking time with us, guys. I really appreciate it. And safe travels next time you come back to the States, Matt. That is some solid advice. Maybe the beard made him a little wiser. Who knows? A lot sure has changed in those 9 years, right? Not just the beards, but it's kind of fun catching up with them and seeing. We also like to believe that maybe the show here played a little bit in whatever their futures were, but some pretty impressive young men there playing for Belvedere North in our first season. When we return, it is game time. Auburn versus Winnebago. First question of the Season 9 Bergstrom State Line Quiz Bowl finale. Coming up right after this break. We are ready for gameplay. Are you ready? Because clearly our audience here at the Nordloff Center is ready. Our two teams are ready. It is time for our Season 9 Bergstrom State Line Quiz Bowl finale. Let's introduce our teams, the real stars of this show, shall we? First, it's the Auburn Knights. I paused for applause because our audience has been clapping for everything, and I had to pause to let you get your applause there, Auburn. 9th straight season, Auburn is back in a familiar place. They made it here by beating last year's champs. I already referenced that. They won in the Final Four. The Knights beat Belvedere North with a pretty balanced attack and a pretty high score. 430 points to 150. Senesio is their longtime captain. Introduce us to your starting lineup, Senesio.
So to my left is Kobe, to my near right is Alex, and to my far right is Brielle.
Good luck, Auburn Knights, taking on the Winnebago Indians. And similar to the Knights, Winnebago put up a pretty impressive score against Morrison, 410 points against Morrison's 140. Sam and Merrick combined for 13 correct buzz-ins. Maybe they are the secret weapons, who knows. I mentioned at the very beginning of the show, with both of these teams being involved from season 1, this is somehow the first time they've ever played each other. So we have no idea what to expect, but when you look at those high scores, expect a lot of questions to be answered correctly today. In fact, when it comes to scoring, Auburn and Winnebago are a couple of the highest, actually they're in the top 3 highest scoring teams in this year's tournament, and I believe both of them in the history of the tournament are in the top 5. So fasten your seatbelts. This is going to be a fantastic game. Sam, as Winnebago's captain, introduce us to your starting lineup.
On my right, I'm joined by Dylan, and on my left, I have Carson and Merrick.
All right, welcome to the Winnebago Indians. Shall we play a game? That is my regular reference to war games, and that's my movie reference for parents watching. Now let's get into some quantum physics, shall we? Our buzz-in round, contestants, you've played this game long enough. I'm not going to go over the rules, but again, especially in a championship game, the two most important rules, wait for me to say your name before you answer, and then say that answer loudly and clearly. Hands on your buzzers. Good luck. Here we go. What executive order issued January 1st, 1863 applied to states in which the people Carson?
Emancipation Proclamation.
That is correct. Shall then be in rebellion against the United States. First points of the game go to Winnebago. What retailer forms an alliance with the chain Boots, is the second largest U.S. pharmacy chain after CVS Health? Brielle.
Walgreens.
I have to take that first answer, clear the buzzers. Winnebago, I will finish for you, and has a logo called the Flying W. Go ahead, Sam.
Walgreens.
Walgreens is correct. Headquarters just down the road in Deerfield, Illinois. What outfielder who won the Home Run Derby in 2022 was traded with Josh Bell to the San Diego Padres by the Washington Nationals later that year? Alex.
Harper.
Incorrect. Winnebago. Go ahead, Sam.
Smith.
Incorrect. Maybe we got our sports question out of the way, right? Juan Soto. What president married Frances Folsom in the White House, was supported by Republicans known as mugwumps, and served 2 Carson?
Cleveland.
That's right, non-consecutive terms. Magnetohydrodynamics studies what phase of matter? Sam.
Plasma.
That's correct, characterized by the Debye length that is often said to be the 4th state of matter. What city in the Valley of Mexico, which contains the Avenue of the Dead and the Pyramid of the Moon, was the largest ancient city in the Americas? Carson.
Tenochtitlan.
Incorrect. Auburn. Go ahead, Alex.
Teotihuacan.
You got it. Teotihuacan. Auburn's on the board now. What woman who in November 2022 was transferred to the IK2 penal colony is a WNBA player convicted for possessing... Merrick.
Brittany Griner.
That's right, possessing hashish oil in Russia. The explosive volatility of nitroglycerin prompted what Swedish chemist? Sam.
Nobel.
That is right, to invent dynamite in the 1860s. What battle during which Leontiades led a Theban surrender ended with a massive Persian army overrunning Leonidas and Alex?
Thermopylae.
That's right, and a group of 300 Spartans, subject of that 2006 film, 300. What composer died, likely by suicide, 9 days after the 1893 premiere of his 6th Symphony? Alex?
Tchaikovsky.
Yes, the B minor Pathétique. What star is only 8.6 light years from Earth, is the brightest in the night sky, and due to its... Brielle.
Ceres.
Say that again.
Ceres.
Incorrect. I will finish for Winnebago. Due to its position in Canis Major, is known as the Dog Star. Go ahead, Merrick.
Sirius?
Sirius is correct. What author depicted a newspaper called the Daily Beast in the 1938 novel Scoop? Sam.
Waugh.
That is correct. Wrote about Paul's expulsion from Oxford in Decline and Fall. Mountain ranges often form at what type of boundary between tectonic plates that are... Dylan.
Convergent.
That is correct. That are colliding. What company, co-founded in 1892 by Alva Curtis Roebuck, evolved into a... Carson.
Sears.
That's right. Department store chain provided the former name of Chicago's Willis Tower. What author of The Wonderful O and the 13 Clocks wrote about a man who imagines himself facing a firing squad in Sam?
Thurber.
That is correct. That novel was The Secret Life of Walter Mitty. What Federalist Chief Justice wrote the majority opinions in McCullough versus Maryland and Gibbons? Merrick?
Marshall.
That is correct. And that is the last question of the round. We're having a little bit of technical difficulties with our score there, but right now we are at 120 for Winnebago and 30 points for Auburn. We'll get that worked out in the break and come back with our volleyball round right after this. We'll see you in a couple minutes. What an exciting beginning to our Season 9 finale here at Bergstrom State Line Quiz Bowl. Winnebago's off to a very strong start, 120 to Auburn's 30, and we just want to point out that when you get to this level of the game, this may not surprise you, but in that entire round, we only had one question that did not get answered by either of our teams. Before we get to questions in our volleyball round, a very special thank you to our judge today. Retired Judge Rosemary Collins, and I could honestly spend 20 minutes talking about everything that she and her husband, Paul Gaziano, do for this community and continue to do for this community, making this a better place for all of us. So we thank you for that, big picture, but smaller scale, thanks for being our judge today, Rosemary. We really appreciate it. All right, back to our volleyball action. This is a conferring round, so work as a team, contestants, but remember, answers need to come from the captains. Because of our flip, Auburn gets our first volleyball question. Sinesio, are you ready?
Yep.
Here it comes. What movement which the Azusa Street Revival popularized links glossolalia to the Holy Spirit and is named for a day 50 days after Easter?
Pentecostalism.
That is correct. Glossolalia means speaking in tongues, in case you were curious of that big word. Let's move on now to Winnebago's first question of the round. What maybe fictitious woman supposedly took her wounded husband's place at a cannon during the Battle of Monmouth in the Revolutionary War?
Molly Pitcher.
That's correct. And she may have been loosely based on a real woman, Mary Hayes Macaulay. Back to Auburn. What woman wrote Our American Cousin on a November 21st, 2022 episode to beat Sam Buttrey and Andrew He, winning the Jeopardy! Tournament of Champions? Recently reappeared on the show, that's Amy Schneider. Back to Winnebago. John Roebling and his son Washington designed and built what cable-stayed structure that crosses the East River in New York City?
Brooklyn Bridge, right? Brooklyn Bridge.
Sure, Dylan says. That's right, and you got it. Nice work. And if you're not careful, someone may try and sell that to you. Back over to Auburn. What country, where the right-wing group Hobson's Pledge opposes use of its alternate name, Aotearoa, is home to the indigenous Maori people?
New Zealand.
That's right. Also home to film director Taika Waititi, fun fact. Back to Winnebago. The novel Where She Went is a sequel to what 2009 book by Gail Foreman, in which young cellist Mia Hall must decide whether to awake from a coma?
This is Awake or Sleep.
Incorrect. If I Stay. That was a tough literature question. Back over to Auburn. You could close the gap with this. What metric prefix is the only one to appear in the name of an SI base unit, is the inverse of milli, and represents a factor of 1,000?
Kilo.
Yeah, that's right. The kilogram's the only SI base unit that actually has a metric prefix. Back to Winnebago. Which membrane-bound organelle maintains an acidic pH to allow the hydrolytic enzymes it contains to function properly in digesting cellular waste?
Peroxisome?
You said it, but you said the right one, but I can't take that. Lysosomes was correct. You had it in the conferring there. Back over to Auburn. What state, whose town of Belle Fourche is near the geographic center of the U.S., contains the city of Sioux Falls and is governed from Pierre?
South Dakota.
That is correct. Quick points for Auburn. Back to Winnebago. What large Russian island is west of the Sea of Okhotsk and is separated from Japan by La Perouse Strait?
Sakhalin.
Sakhalin is right. You got it. Winnebago. Or you got it, Winnebago. We're over to Auburn. A Holy Roman Emperor of what name, whose army won the Battle of Pavia and later sacked Rome, held the 1521 Diet of Worms to condemn Martin Luther?
Charles.
That was Charles. You got it, and that's how we're going to end the round. We're out of time. So Auburn's up to 80. Winnebago still with a 70-point lead, 150 points. Auburn closed that gap a little bit. We got a lot of game to play, and those scores are going to change pretty dramatically in our NECA IBEW round. That's coming up, but first, you get to play at home with the Bergstrom bonus question. Our contestants have pizza and pasta on the line after this break.
This past February, LeBron James broke the NBA's all-time leading scoring record. Whose record did he break?
It is Bergstrom bonus question time in our Season 9 finale, so our scores won't change after this question, but our contestants will be celebrating, win or lose, with a pizza party from our friends at Lino's. Here's the question. So if you're watching at home, you already saw it. Our contestants haven't. It's a buzz-in, so if you know the answer to this, contestants, let me know with that buzzer. Here we go. This past February, LeBron James broke the NBA's all-time scoring record. Whose record did he? Sinesio.
Kareem Abdul-Jabbar.
Kareem Abdul-Jabbar is correct. And, you know, the Lakers legend might have held that record for 39 years, but of course, we adults all know him better as Roger Murdoch. He's the co-pilot in the movie Airplane. You see the blank stares I'm getting from all 8 of them up here? Parents, you're with me, right? Yeah. Roger Murdoch. Roger. Radio clearance over. That's clearance over. Sorry. My comedy routine is over, and I use that word loosely. We'll take a break and come back with our NECA IBEW lightning round with a lot of points on the line. Stay here for that. Halfway through our championship game here, we're about to start our NECA IBEW lightning round. And of course, it is named the lightning round for a reason. It is the fastest round in the game. But before we get to that, we're still celebrating, or at least Auburn is still celebrating Sinesio's victory in that Bergstrom bonus question. I don't want to take away from your victory, Sinesio, but our friends at Lino's have decided to give both teams a party with pizza and pasta. So thank you to Charlie and the gang at Lino's for that, but also for being longtime sponsors of our show. We really appreciate it. All right, the lightning round. Contestants, you've played the game. You know how it works. The coin flip means Winnebago gets first choice. So Sam, these are your 3 categories. And remember, both teams work as a team, but the answers have to come from the captains. So Sam, your categories are Greek mythological moms, places of death, or starts with 3.
Places of death, right? Places of death.
Did y'all see how Carson and Sam and Merrick were like, places of death? And Charlotte was like, okay. We'll see how this works out for you. Name the current U.S. state where these American historical figures died. So you will have 60 seconds to go through this category. You get all 10, simple math, that's 100 points boosted to your score. And then Sinesio, you and the team get 30 seconds to get to whatever they don't. Advice to both teams. I always point this out at the beginning of the round just so you don't forget, you can pass. So don't let the clock eat up on one single question. Are you ready for the first one, Sam?
Yep.
Here we go. Name the current U.S. state where these American historical figures died. John F. Kennedy.
Texas. Texas.
Correct. Benjamin Franklin.
Pass.
Martin Luther King Jr.
Tennessee.
Correct. Stonewall Jackson.
No, it's Virginia. Yeah.
Virginia.
Correct. John Brown.
West Virginia.
West Virginia.
Correct. George Armstrong Custer.
This is
Colorado.
Incorrect. Malcolm X.
Malcolm X.
Pass.
Joseph Smith, the founder of Mormonism.
Oh. Illinois.
Correct. Warren G. Harding.
California.
California.
Correct. William Jennings Bryan.
Oh. Pass.
Benjamin Franklin.
Pennsylvania.
That's correct. Malcolm X.
New Orleans. It's not state.
Incorrect. William Jennings Bryan.
I'm gonna say like Virginia. Ohio.
Incorrect. Nothing to go back to, and there's the buzzer anyway. So you got 70 points to your score. You're now up to 220. There's 3 left. Sinesio, you can take all 30 seconds if you want. If you were paying attention, you may not need all of that time. Are you ready for the first one?
Yep.
Name the current U.S. state where these American historical figures died. George Armstrong Custer.
South Dakota.
Incorrect. Malcolm X.
New York.
That's correct. William Jennings Bryan.
Maryland.
Incorrect. A little bit of time on the clock there, but we can't go back to anything. There's only 2 that no one got. General Custer, it was his last stand at the Little Bighorn in Montana. That's where he died. And then that last one, William Jennings Bryan, he actually died days after arguing in the Scopes monkey trial in Dayton, Tennessee. So that's our first round through of the lightning round. Now we've got 2 categories left to pick from. So Sinesio, your choices are Greek mythological moms or starts with 3.
Greek mythological moms.
Okay. If you run this category, it'll bring you up to within 30 points. We'll see what happens. 60 seconds is on the clock. Given a figure from Greek myth, name their mother. Remember, the pass option is on the table. Are you ready for your first one?
Yep.
Here we go. Given a figure from Greek myth, name their mother. Pegasus, she gave birth after she was
Medusa.
decapitated. Correct. Persephone, winter was due to her.
Demeter.
Correct. Oceanus, she was the embodiment of the earth.
Gaia.
Correct. Telemachus, she remained faithful to her husband Odysseus.
Penelope.
Correct. Hector, she was the wife of Priam.
Pass.
Zeus, she made Cronus swallow a rock instead.
Rhea.
Correct. Nice. Orpheus, she was the muse of epic poetry.
Calliope.
That's correct. Nice. Kerberos and Scylla, she was the mate of Typhon.
Oh, yeah. Echidna.
Correct. Nice. Achilles, she held Achilles in the river Styx.
Thetis.
Correct. The Minotaur, she was the wife of King Minos.
Pasiphae.
That's correct. Hector, she was the wife of Priam.
Is it Creek? No, that's not a woman. Okay.
The only one you didn't get nearly ran the category. 90 points added to your score. Nice job. There is one left on the table for you, Sam. 30 seconds. You can take all that 30 if you want. You may not need it. Are you ready for this?
Yeah.
There we go. Given a figure from Greek myth, name their mother. Hector, she was the wife of Priam.
Helen of Troy.
Incorrect. It was a good guess. Hecuba. Only one no one got was Hecuba. So we now have a 40-point game. And in our next round, that is basically 2 questions worth because each question in our final challenge is worth 20 points. Strappers, we knew this was going to be a close game and high scoring as well. And we'll be back and finish up this championship game in Season 9 right after this break. We could not ask for a much better matchup when it comes to our championship game. It is a 40-point game right now. Winnebago is on top at the moment with 220. Auburn has 180 as we enter our final challenge for our Season 9 championship. The same rules apply to this round contestants as the first round. The 2 most important ones are wait for me to say your name before you answer, which is so much more important when the game is this close. And make sure you say that answer loudly and clearly. And the only other rule change is that each of these questions is worth 20 points. Hands on your buzzers. And we just want to say really quickly that no matter what happens, you should all be very proud of where you're at right now because it's not easy to make it to this point. You know that there are people in the audience who are super proud of you. All right, hands on your buzzers. Here we go with our first question in the final challenge for our Season 9 Bergstrom State Line Quiz Bowl Championship. The graph of the function y equals the absolute value of x most nearly resembles, Sinesio.
V.
That's right, the letter of the alphabet that we needed. Auburn gets the first points in the final challenge. What bird with pileated and Gila species has a hyoid bone that wraps around its skull to protect its brain from, Dylan?
A woodpecker?
That's right, from its rapid strikes on wood. Jermaine Clement created what FX sitcom about vampires, such as Laszlo Cravensworth and Carson?
What We Do in the Dark?
Incorrect. I will finish for Auburn. And Nandor the Relentless, who live in modern-day Staten Island. Alex.
First Blood.
Incorrect. It's based on the film of the same name by Clement and director Taika Waititi, What We Do in the Shadows. What opera ends with the line, "The comedy is over," after Silvio and Senesio?
Pagliacci.
That is correct. Joe Biden had an in-person meeting with Xi Jinping during a 2022 summit in Bali. Sam.
Taiwan.
Incorrect. I will finish for Auburn. Held by what organization consisting of the world's largest economies? Alex.
The World Trade Organization.
Incorrect. G20. What city, which fell in 1942 during the largest British surrender in history, Merrick?
Singapore.
That's right, founded by Stamford Raffles at the tip of the Malayan Peninsula. The first operon discovered in bacteria controls the metabolism of what, Senesio?
Lactose.
That is right. That's the disaccharide we needed. We're moving on. What character who employs the ensign pistol attempts to woo Mistress Ford and Mistress Page and is Sam?
Falstaff.
That is correct. Sir John Falstaff, the Fat Knight and the Merry Wives of Windsor. The Maurits House Museum is in what city? The seat of government, but not the capital of the Netherlands. Alex.
The Hague.
The Hague is right. Also headquarters for the International Criminal Court. What process, known as deglutition, is a largely involuntary process in which the peristaltic wave... Kobe.
Hiccup.
Incorrect. I'll finish for Winnebago. The peristaltic wave helps move food from the mouth to the stomach. Sam.
Swallowing.
Swallowing is correct. What 1776 pamphlet which likened the... Alex.
Common Sense.
That is right. What man who was defended by Andrew Hamilton was accused by Governor William Cosby of libel in a 1734 trial involving freedom of the press? Senesio.
Hearst.
Incorrect. Winnebago, you can take these points. Sam.
Smith.
Incorrect. Zenger. What country contains the Pearl Roundabout, can be reached via the King Fahd Causeway in Senesio?
Ireland.
Incorrect, and I will finish for Winnebago, and is a Middle Eastern island country governed from Manama. Merrick?
United Arab Emirates.
Incorrect. Worth a guess, but we are out of time. With a score of 300 points, Winnebago is the champion for Season 9 in Bergstrom State Line Quiz Bowl. And I just want to point out, I don't know if we can get a shot of both of these teams at the same time, but if you're not in the audience, you didn't know, or if you're not here, you didn't notice this. Auburn led the applause for Winnebago winning that game. It takes a big person to be able to do that. That speaks a lot for all of you playing today. Really appreciate that. Super exciting way to end the game. Championship, we hope, would be decided by this close of a margin, and it really is. We're going to take a break, catch our breaths, literally, and we'll have our trophy presentations right after this break. We have some very important business to take care of at the finale of Bergstrom State Line Quiz Bowl Season 9. You may recognize this guy's face because he's in promos all the time from Bergstrom. It's Andrew Hall. Andrew, you get the honors today.
On behalf of Bergstrom, I'd like to congratulate you on an excellent season and present you with your second place trophy.
And while the handshaking is going on, Senesio, I want to talk to you a little bit. It's no secret we take this in advance. When this show airs, you are going to be hitting the road. Where are you headed?
We're headed to Atlanta for the NAQT National Tournament this weekend.
And that's just one of 2 national tournaments that you're competing in, right? You have a second one coming up too in the summer?
Yeah, so we've got another one at the beginning of June in Chicago. That's for PACE.
Super exciting. Well, we're glad that you shared some time with us and played our games kind of like your warm-up to the national tournament, right? We ask this at the end of every Quiz Bowl game, at least in this tournament. How many of you are seniors? We know you're going to Johns Hopkins, right, because of your dad's reaction video, which is super cool. And so that means the rest of you will come back and play in season 10, right, which is a very big deal for us. Hopefully it is for you. And as disappointing as it is not to win, we hope you had fun, because it was certainly fun watching you play. And it's been fun watching you play our game for years. We'll get one more season out of you, I hope. We're going to be back with one more trophy presentation before we leave you right after this. We have one more piece of business to take care of here in the Season 9 finale of Bergstrom State Line Quiz Bowl. And I forgot to mention, which is probably bad because, I don't know, my job may be on the line for this one. Our corporation, Nexstar Media Group, is actually giving both of these teams a pretty sizable chunk of change for winning. So Auburn got $2,500 for coming in second place, and Winnebago gets $5,000 from our corporation. So it's a sign, too, of what our company, Nexstar Media Group, thinks of your accomplishments. Hey, look who's back. It's Andrew. And Andrew has some business to take care of on this side of the stage as well.
On behalf of Bergstrom, I would like to congratulate you on an amazing season and your mighty win tonight over Auburn High School. Congratulations, guys. Here's your first place trophy. Thank you.
And as you soak in the applause, Sam, I want to talk to you. First of all, great job captaining the team. We mentioned that Auburn is playing in a national tournament, but we also said at the beginning of the show that you took third place in your division at state. You're heading to a national tournament as well. When is that?
Yeah, that'll be in early June. I'll be playing against Auburn again, probably, at Pace NSC.
And you also get an honor, along with captain of Auburn, Senesio, to represent the state of Illinois. Tell me about that.
Yeah, just a week after we play Pace NSC, I'll be playing alongside Senesio for Team Illinois, where we take players from all different teams around Illinois. We play them against teams like the team of Maine, the team of California. And for that, we'll be working together with Senesio. It'll be very interesting.
That's pretty great. And I mentioned this when it happened, but maybe you saw it, but they led the applause for you when you won. Congratulations. And I understand you're the only two seniors, right? Everybody else will be back next season, I hope, for season 10. It's going to be an exciting season. We are just about out of time for this season 9 finale. I do want to throw out some thank yous because there are a lot of people to thank who, if they weren't around, this show would not be possible. The last 9 seasons of Bergstrom State Line Quiz Bowl, and they're named Bergstrom for a reason. Dave Rydell, who is here, he is the chairman of Bergstrom. He is key to making this show happen. He and his wife, Jeannie, support community organizations and causes throughout the Rockford area, not just Bergstrom State Line Quiz Bowl, making this place better for all of us. And this wouldn't happen without you, so thank you for that. We are lucky that you're involved in Quiz Bowl. We also have a huge crew here, 20 to 30 people when you talk about all of our different departments. And if I start naming people, I'm going to forget somebody. But I am going to mention 2 people specifically. I want to thank our executive producer, Sean Anderson, who is a master organizer, and he is like a magician when it comes to figuring out brackets and scheduling. We couldn't do the show without him. And also our director, who's in our truck, Aaron Rice, who's the only person who's been involved in every single Quiz Bowl episode for all 9 seasons. We will imagine he'll keep that streak going for season 10. He's also the one who talks in my ear and tries to make me laugh during recordings. I always appreciate that, Aaron. And thank you to our teams, to our coaches, to our parents, friends, family, a lot of those people who are in the room here, or maybe you're watching at home. And finally, thank you for spending part of your weekend with us every week. We really couldn't do it without you. We hope you enjoyed the show. We hope you have just a fraction of the fun that we have every time that we put one of these shows on. And we'll see you in a few months, right, for Bergstrom State Line Quiz Bowl Season 10. Thanks for being here.